South Park exposes Disney's woke Snow White. Rachel Zegler melts down. South Park just took a wrecking ball to Hollywood's biggest controversy, and the internet can't look away. Their latest episode tears into Disney's Snow White remake with brutal precision. But the real plot twist? It's a scathing parody of Rachel Zegler, the actress at the heart of the storm. Love her or hate her, she's become the face of the backlash, and South Park just turned that backlash into a cultural wildfire. Rachel Zegler's caught in the crossfire after South Park delivered a savage blow to Disney's modernized storytelling efforts. This wasn't just a lighthearted spoof. It was a brutal takedown that went straight for the jugular. And Disney's so-called push for progressiveness? Let's just say the fans aren't buying it, and neither is South Park. The episode causing all the uproar? It's titled Into the Pandaverse, and as usual, Trey Parker and Matt Stone didn't hold back. They aimed squarely at Disney's growing trend of revamping classic stories with what many feel are shallow, surface-level changes to fit a new agenda. And the timing couldn't have been more perfect. Disney's already facing criticism from fans for tampering with beloved tales, and this episode hit like a cultural lightning bolt. Here's where things get wild. South Park flipped its iconic characters, Cartman, Stan, Kenny, and Butters, into adult women of color in a parody move that wasn't exactly subtle. It was a direct swipe at Disney's recent casting choices and race-swapping decisions, which have sparked heated debates across the internet. The message was crystal clear. Audiences are tired of studios making flashy changes that don't actually improve the storytelling. And boy, did the fans get the point. Let's rewind a bit to Disney's live-action Snow White remake. The controversy began when Disney announced Rachel Zegler, a Latina actress, would be taking on the role of Snow White. Now, let's not beat around the bush. This decision immediately raised eyebrows. Why? Because Snow White's defining description in the original fairy tale is her skin as white as snow. Fans were quick to point out that Disney seemed more focused on making a bold casting statement than staying true to the story's essence. But wait, it doesn't stop there. Disney didn't just change the casting, they completely overhauled the story itself. The timeless romance? Scrapped. The prince? Barely there. And the beloved seven dwarfs? Gone without a trace. Fans were left scratching their heads, wondering what was even left of the Snow White they grew up with. And let's talk about the seven dwarfs for a second. They weren't just minor characters. They were a core part of the original tale, bringing heart, humor, and depth to the story. But Disney's decision to cut them from the film? Fans saw it as a step too far. It felt like Disney was erasing key elements of the story in a misguided attempt to sidestep potential backlash. Even Peter Dinklage weighed in on the debate, criticizing the original portrayal of the dwarfs as outdated. But instead of finding a respectful way to update their roles, Disney decided to axe them entirely. To many fans, this felt like overcorrecting, a move that ended up creating more confusion and frustration than progress. And now, we have Rachel Zegler's role in the middle of all this chaos. Unfortunately for her, her own comments during press interviews have only made things worse. One particular clip that went viral showed her joking about apple-flavored snacks on set, saying something along the lines of, "I hope it's not a poison apple." While it might have been an innocent joke, fans weren't amused. They saw it as tone-deaf, especially considering the backlash the film was already facing. But it gets even messier. Zegler made waves with her remarks about the film moving away from the classic love story altogether. In one interview, she casually mentioned that the prince's scenes had been drastically reduced, or possibly even cut. She said something like, "It's not about the love story at all," hinting that Snow White's journey would focus more on independence. While that might sound modern and empowering, the way she said it rubbed people the wrong way. Many fans interpreted it as dismissive and even disrespectful to the original fairy tale. And let's face it, fans are exhausted. They're tired of seeing their favorite childhood story. In Into the Pandaverse, South Park hilariously exaggerated what happens when studios chase superficial inclusivity without actually improving the content. By gender and race-swapping their own characters, Parker and Stone highlighted how shallow some of these changes can feel. The episode was a masterclass in satire, and it resonated deeply with viewers who've grown frustrated with Hollywood's trend of tampering with classics. This isn't Disney's first time at the center of such a controversy. Take the Little Mermaid remake, for instance. Disney cast Halle Bailey, a black actress, as Ariel, sparking mixed reactions online. While many praised the move for promoting diversity, others questioned whether it was another attempt to tick off a box on the inclusivity checklist. However, unlike Snow White, The Little Mermaid stayed relatively faithful to its original charm, which helped soften the blow. But Snow White? It feels like a completely different story. Fans aren't just frustrated with the casting, they're angry about the gutting of the original narrative. Disney hasn't just modernized the tale, they've seemingly rejected the heart of what made Snow White timeless. And that rejection is what really stings. The removal of the Seven Dwarfs is a perfect example of this. These characters weren't just background noise. They had distinct personalities and a special bond with Snow White that made the story more meaningful. By cutting them out entirely, Disney stripped away a significant emotional layer that generations of fans connected with. So, what's the takeaway from South Park's episode? The creators delivered a clear message. Making surface-level changes for the sake of appearing progressive isn't enough. It comes across as hollow and performative. And that's precisely what fans are fed up with. Shallow revisions masquerading as meaningful representation. And let's not forget, South Park has taken aim at Disney before. In their 2022 episode, The Streaming Wars, they mocked the entertainment giant's business strategies. And who could ever forget their infamous portrayal of Mickey Mouse as a ruthless corporate boss? Disney has long been a favorite target for Parker and Stone, and it looks like that's not going to change anytime soon. Now, rumor has it that Disney isn't too thrilled about the latest South Park jab. Some reports suggest that the company might even be trying to reach out to the show's creators to avoid future parodies. But let's be honest, Trey Parker and Matt Stone aren't exactly the type to back down. If anything, this controversy will only give them more material to work with. Fans are already rallying behind South Park's message. One comment that's been making the rounds online sums it up perfectly. It's not about promoting woke propaganda. It's about respecting the stories we love. And that's the core issue. People aren't against diversity or modern updates. They're against seeing the essence of beloved stories erased in the process. So where does Disney go from here? The company is clearly at a crossroads. If they want to win back fans, they need to strike a balance between modern storytelling and respecting the classics. Fans aren't asking for a carbon copy of the past. They just want the heart and soul of these stories to remain intact. As for Rachel Zegler, she might want to rethink her approach moving forward. Fans love authenticity and passion for the source material. Any hint of dismissiveness? It'll only add more fuel to the fire. And if Disney wants to avoid more South Park-style South Park's latest episode has ignited a cultural conversation that Hollywood, and Disney in particular, can no longer afford to ignore. The growing frustration from fans isn't about rejecting modern values or diversity. It's about rejecting shallow, performative changes that sacrifice storytelling in the name of progress. South Park nailed that sentiment perfectly, holding up a mirror to an industry that often seems out of touch with its audience. Rachel Zegler, Disney, and Hollywood at large have a choice to make. Keep pushing flashy, surface-level revisions that alienate fans, or return to creating stories with heart, depth, and respect for their original magic. One thing is clear. Audiences are demanding authenticity. Disney's next move will be crucial. Will they continue chasing trends, or will they start listening to the fans who have kept these stories alive for generations? Only time will tell. But for now, South Park's takedown serves as a brutal reminder. Storytelling matters, and fans won't settle for less. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like,